Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mr. Karu channel. Today I am going to do a review of Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. So please stay tuned. Okay, so today I'm going to do a review of a very popular fragrance from Chanel. Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. So some of the data of this fragrance, Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme was released in 2012. The perfumer is Jack Polge. Concentration is Eau de Parfum. Retails for around $102 for 50 ml. So this fragrance is a flanker to Chanel's Allure Homme Sport, which is one of the all-time best-selling men's fragrance in the market today. Allure Homme Sport itself was a flanker of Allure Homme as a sport version. At the time, sport was a massive trend and every house was releasing sport version flankers. Allure Homme Sport seems to be one of the very few sport fragrances which stood the test of time and is being sold on the shelf even today. With that being said, this fragrance, Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, is the more intense, extreme version of the original Allure Homme Sport. So let's get into the presentation. So, Allure Homme Sport comes in this square, classic Chanel Allure Homme bottle. As you can see, it is a little bit more gray, a darker gray than the original Allure Homme Sport. You can see the concentration and batch code on the bottom. It says Eau Extreme on the front. You have your batch code written right here. And the cap is the Allure Homme style cap with Chanel on it. And it has a red Chanel logo on the top. And as you can see, the sprayer is pretty nice, very nice solid stuff as you would expect from Chanel as usual. That's the presentation of Allure Homme Sport, very solid. So let's get into the smell of this fragrance. So some of the notes are mandarin orange, mint, cypress, sage, pepper, tonka bean, musk, sandalwood, and cedar. So let's get some on here. Okay, so this fragrance opens up with a nice burst of fresh mandarin orange and mint. The opening is very close to the original Allure Homme Sport. It's very fresh and bright. As with Allure Homme Sport, this has a aquatic, ozonic kind of vibe and also an aldehydic touch, classic Chanel DNA. Okay, so in the dry down, this is where you start to notice the difference between the standard Allure Homme Sport and the Eau Extreme version. The Eau Extreme version is supposed to be the more intense and extreme version. And that's exactly what is happening here. We're getting a lot more tonka and a lot more vanilla, basically much more sweetness. The tonka and vanilla in the dry down is quite strong, but the Allure Homme Sport DNA is still prevalent. Very sweet, but still maintains the old ozonic airiness. This is a kind of a weird feeling where the sweetness is strong, but it's not as heavy or dense, quite dry and airy. To me personally, this is a very sweet kind of fragrance. However, I can understand people who take this as a more fresh aquatic fragrance. When you really get into the dry down, you will start to pick up the sandalwood musk base. I would have to say this is a quite synthetic kind of scent making. I mean, however, that's not a downside. It's probably how this is made to be like. This fragrance is a perfect example on how to make a proper, intense, extreme flanker of a fresh fragrance. Keep the original DNA, but amp up the sweetness. Even though it is sweet and fresh, it does not smell cheap, keeping that Chanel quality. I would imagine someone who is a nice guy wearing this. Age-wise, maybe maximum in the 40s, not more than that. All in all, a great, fresh, and sweet fragrance you can wear in any season. Okay, so the overall rating. My overall rating for Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme goes like this. Okay, so let's go with the uniqueness. So basically this is a extreme version or an intense version of a bestseller fragrance. So I wouldn't say there's anything unique about that. Not to take away that this is a very well-made flanker. Performance. Despite the many reviews on the internet these days, I think this is a quite strong performing fragrance. It's not monstrous by any means, but still above average in my standards. The longevity is well over 7 hours of moderate projection. It might just be me, but I actually get a nose burn when I wear this fragrance. Versatility. So surprisingly, this is not a super easy fragrance to wear for me. I wouldn't wear this fragrance to the office due to its strong sweetness. It's mainly an off-time fragrance for me, but I also kind of hesitate to wear this to the gym or ironically any sport occasions, I can't get over the sweetness. So I think the versatility gets a 3 out of 5. Complexity, I wouldn't say this fragrance is a super complex fragrance. It doesn't develop at all. It stays quite linear once you get into the dry down, and it fades away into the base notes as you would expect. Compliment wise, this is a part I'm not really able to make up my mind actually. From many positive reviews on the internet and the love that this fragrance receives in the fragrance community, it's supposed to be a super mass appealing fragrance, and I understand that this fragrance would appeal to many people. However, I am not sure if this is happening around me. My wife never asked me about this fragrance when I wore it. She usually does when she likes something. I would have to say maybe in Japan, this would be kind of a split decision whether you like this kind of level of sweetness or not. Compliment gets a 3 out of 5. Value for the money, I would give this fragrance a standard rating for the value for the money. This is a very well made Chanel fragrance with great performance. I would say that this fragrance is correctly priced, so that gets a 3 out of 5. Season. This fragrance will do well in any season except for the summer, in the really hot summer days. I personally would be able to tolerate this degree of sweetness in the extreme heats of summer. It will just get too cloying. Overall, I think this is a well-made, sweeter version of the Allure Homme Sport. The fragrance itself is nicely balanced and quite difficult to point out a fraud. Personally, the sweetness is a little too overwhelming for my taste. I don't find myself wearing this too often. However, that's just my opinion. This is a Chanel fragrance. You can test this out quite easily in any department stores around you, so I highly recommend you to give it a try. So that was my take on Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. If you like this fragrance, please comment down in the section below. If you like my contents, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. So thank you and see you in the next video.